caller. Oh, you fagging. I knew there was something that would go wrong. How can I do this again? Standby callers. I might have to kill this and come back and start another one. Sorry, I left the orientation lock on and it's not. Let's try this. Hang on. My lord, hang on. Right, you're gonna have this. Sorry to those that watch me in landscape. It's going to have to be in portrait because I'm, let's have a think. Probably going to have to delete the app. And then, right. I'm probably going to have to delete the app after I finish this live. What a pain in the derriere. Anyway, I was laughing all day today until this debacle. What we're going to do. Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. Evening, fellow wrong'uns. One is fine and dandy. Let's go. Let's go to some of the comments, shall we? You've started without me. There was people commenting before I'd even pressed go live. CM Training, just want to say, hi Adrian, lots of indulgence from Colin. Evening, Colin. Thank you very much. To Jennifer Clifford. Hello from New Zealand. Jennifer, hang on. What time is it? Is it breakfast time in New Zealand? You're about 8 or 9 hours ahead, aren't you? So what time we got? 8? Blimey. You're up early. We love an early riser. Rich. Evening, you wrong'uns. Evening, Rich. The uninvited guest. Oh, hello, everyone. Uninvited guest is always very well mannered. Very well mannered. Kevin Iverson, oh, this should be a good one. Is that good one? Talking about the great unwashed. Kevin, or those who are on the telly to us mere mortals. Oh, I've got loads. Literally, I've got too much to talk about tonight. I've got too many of your comments and responses. I'm like, I could be here. I might keep going until 8 o'clock tomorrow night. CM Training, hi New Zealand. Hello New Zealand. Graham, hi all. Evening Graham. Uninvited guest. Hello Adrian. Oh, thanks very much, uninvited guest. Say hello to everybody else first. Do you know? Hello Tower Block Tracy. How are you? Evening you beautiful people. Evening Tower Block Tracy. How are you? And Rich, hi there New Zealand. Yeah, wrong way uppins. Very good, Rich. Like that one. Mr. John Up. Good to see you, Mr. John Up. Good evening, Adrian. Yeah, wrong. Hope you and your loved ones are well. I think they are. I don't know where they are, to be fair. All over the country. And Rachel Parker. Evening, you. Rachel, just for you, I'm going to get this right. Evening, you. Wrong'uns. Evening, Rachel. To Rich, 90 degrees out, kid. I know. Just look, it's that orientation thing. Because if let's see if it'll do it, because we haven't really started yet. Hang on. Let's. Oh, Siri, back her off, man. Oh. Thank you, Siri. I don't know what she's done, but can you imagine? I'm going to have to get the magic that is young Jacob. He can edit that. He's a whiz. He's a genius. Thank you. Who was it? It was Rich, I think. I was 90 degrees out. Rich, thank you for that. Thank you. Just for giving me the nod. Hang on, let's just do that. Thank you very much. And yeah, so you can see me. Somebody had a go the other night, and I roared with laughter. I mean, I take some of your comments seriously, but I don't take all of them seriously. And somebody said, "Oh, you only shaved half your lip." It was the lighting man. Well, no, it was the lighting, man. It wasn't the lighting man. because it just cast a shadow over my lip. Sorry. And what was the other one I was laughing at so much? So I've been laughing today at now I'm not the bride. I'm sure you've already I can identify as the bride. I can be anything that I want nowadays, seemingly. But I could identify as the bride, but I'm not. There's only one person wearing white at my wedding, because I'm not the virgin. And so today I had to go and get my final haircut for the wedding. No, I'm going back, but we just had to make sure it was the right one. Hang on. Is it? Oh, for gosh. In the words of the great Chinese philosopher, I'm not going to swear. Honestly, I promised myself I was not going to swear tonight. So you're either giving it this, giving it laldy, as they say in Scotland, or you're just like Adrian. So Tablock Tracy says she's getting a stiff neck. Me too. But it's a late night thing. Where are we? Hey up, Tower Block. Mr. John up, good evening, Adrian. You're wrong. Oh yeah, we've done that one. We've done Rich, we've done Rachel Parker. Paulie Galtieri. Hello, Kitty. Paulie, stop that. You're wrong. Patricia Angeles, sideways. Well, I'll try anything once. Theo Bovril. The wrong'un is going to be late. I rushed my cup of tea and bickies for this. Laugh out loud. I'm not. Oh, you're going to be late. Theo Bovril. Theo O'Bovril. I can't even say it. And I've only had one coffee today. CM Training. Hi, mate. Tower Block Tracy. Hang on, where's she gone now? My TV is smashed to bits. Oh, it's Phil Sumner, not Norman Taylor. It's okay now. Thanks, Norman. Cole Appleton. That will do, lads. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Apologies to those that are just joining. We've had slight technical problems. Oh, bloody iPhone. We've not been able to kind of do it in landscape. So those that complain because they watch me on telly, I do apologise. Blame me iPhone, but I promise the next live it'll be sorted again. Danny Dick, that's better. Phil Sumner, my TV smashed to bits. Mr. John Adrian, I now have to lay on my side because of your orientation. Oh, yes, that's better. Thank you very much, Mr. John Dave Buckley, give us the dirt. Wotton, you're wrongin'. And Tower Block Tracy. Blue lozenge, sweetie. Pink Roses, Nos with Da. Has D Wotton been suspended yet? Well, I'm going to get to that in a second. Because I think there's games afoot. Proper games afoot. Like deep state games afoot. But I'll tell you more about that in just a little while. Kevin Iverson. Adrian, is your auto rotate on lock? Just wondering if that's what's affecting your life. Yeah, I took the hang on, let me just check. Yes, it's definitely off. So we'll have to do it like this tonight because I'm not kind of reorganizing all these people that are watching tonight. And welcome all. Alex in Stocken, in IT speak, this is what we call a picnic error. What on earth is a picnic error? Is that like taking the wrong bits of chicken? And I reckon Alex in Stockholm would have a posh picnic. Phil Sumner, confused about Dan, Adrian. He said he's been a victim of evil with a witch hunt. I felt for him last night. I'm going to ask you some questions about that. Just, I'm letting everybody get their feet under the table because there are still people joining. Evening. This is live number 20. Live number 21. Now, because the next 3 weeks are going to be insane because of the wedding and stuff. Live number 21 is possibly this coming Sunday, the 23rd of July, 8 o'clock. It's always going to be 8 o'clock for the moment so that you can get into a rhythm. We are going to do phone-ins later in the year when I come back from my honeymoon. We're already trying to work that out technically so it can be like proper professional, proper. I don't think there's anybody else doing a phone-in because, well, it's technically quite difficult. And you have to have some experience to be able to do it. E. Bill Cooney. Hi, Adrian. First time commenting from me. Thank you, E. Bill Cooney. Do appreciate that, young sir. Thank you for joining the Amorphous Mass. It's a broad church. You're more than welcome. Paulie Galtieri. Uncle Jimmy, how are you? Now then, you'll see. Norman Taylor, CinemaScope. Show me age now. Oh, can you remember? It was Stingray who used to do the Mario Vision. Not CinemaScope, Mario Vision. That's for people of a certain age that would remember when we had proper children's TV, and it was fabulous. Phil Sumner, phone-ins would be fabulous. Would be fabulous, darling. You legend. I just had to get the emphasis on the right syllable there for you, Phil Sumner. Pink Roses. Any Belfield updates tonight? Blimey, it's like Pink Roses. You're trying to write a book. What happened to the 10 videos and Omnibus? Well, there's a story there, and I haven't finished with the people that decided to start dancing with me. No, I haven't finished with you. If you're watching this, I haven't finished with you yet. Wonderful. Kaz987. Hi, Adrian. The other day you mentioned a morality clause. How about introducing that at Christmas and calling it... Oh, no. Gag of the night. I've got... gag of the night. Adrian, how about you introduce a morality clause? How about introducing that at Christmas and calling it a sanity clause? Not mine. I'm not claiming that. I'm definitely not claiming that. Tic Tac, ITV1 News just admitted they need funding in schools for the alphabet people. Super Marionation, Ken Hampshire. Tic Tac, thank you for that. It's all been... Let's back in the room, everyone. It's been an odd couple of days. And today I've been laughing at Conor McGregor. Not with, because I think he might have had a few beers. But have you seen the footage on Twitter? So Conor McGregor and some of my mates train with Conor, have trained with Conor. Conor's from Dublin, so Conor will know the BBD, the Bajink and Brian Dojo. I'm sure he's very well aware because of mutual connections. But Conor seemingly went to a funeral in Birkenhead today and was in a pub. And I've seen the footage of the fight, a proper cowboy fight in the pub, proper. And then he kind of marches out with his two minders into a black Range Rover and skedaddles. So seemingly, and I'm going to be very well aware, I mean, he's got hundreds of millions. I've got hundreds of pennies. Something's gone on in the pub. That's as much as I'm going to say. It was all over Twitter. It's probably not now, but something's gone on in the pub and it's kicked off big time. Somebody's been upset with Conor and they've... I mean, can you imagine? The Scousers are wonderful. I worked for Radio City for 18 months, 2 years, and had the best time in Liverpool. The best time. The Scousers are just wonderful, funny, deep and glorious folk. Just a wonderful time. Can't speak highly enough of the Scousers because they're just wonderful. And if you upset them, though, they'll tell you. They don't muck about. Straight in. Oi, you're wrong. And so can you imagine somebody's been upset with Conor for whatever reason? I'm not going to go into detail. They've been upset with him and gone, oi, McGregor, come here. And it's like proper kicked off. Go and have a look for the footage. And he's two minders have skedaddled with him. He's kind of marched off out of the pub, and all the kids are outside with their iPhones going, "Let's Conor McGregor, Conor!" Laughing at that, laughing at the Montecito morons, laughing at stuff that is going on. I mean, poor Nigel Farage. I saw the, let me just show you this, if I can get it in screen. It was front of the, is it the Tory Graph? Yeah, it's the Daily Tory Graph. Nigel's, I mean, I don't really know what to make of it. I get that he's his personal bank account's gone, which means you can't have a business bank account with Coots, and he skedaddled off to France, I think it was Normandy, and well, it's kind of England because English kings have owned Normandy for hundreds of years. Maybe we should go back and take it, because let's face it, loads of the unwelcomed are coming in via Normandy, so we'll just take Normandy again, because the French are not great fighters, are they? Whatever happened to the riots? Did you notice that one day we're all burning in hell, and then the next day nothing? Just asking for a friend. Live 20 tonight. We may overrun a little because there's so much to get in. We'll do a little Nigel Farage. We're going to do the Montecito Morons. We're going to do Dan Wootton, because at the time of going to air, Kevin Iverson, he ran off between... is it the Saddle Club just up the road from you? And he said he ran off with his tail between his legs. I did see him kind of swagger out and get in his car with his two minders and then legging it. Men in black suits. I mean, do you have to own a black suit to do personal protection? Do you have to be former special forces to do personal protection? I mean, I know there's a few of my mates in Dublin are tasty boys. Easily do that gig. But from what I'm told by the personal protection for Mohammed Al-Fayed, when I was working for the Fayed organisation when Diana was murdered, they used to say to me, it's just standing around. It's just boring as. Professor Numpty Heed. Oh, Professor, good to have you back, man. Adrian, can you start the live again? I've just joined. Professor Numpty Heed. How can you be late, man? We haven't really started. I'm just having a bit of chill with me coffee and me wrong orientation and what we're possibly going to talk about. What do we want to talk about first tonight? First of all, welcome to the American viewers, because they're starting to join the channel, and I really do appreciate it. This is why when we're talking about Dan Wootton, right, let me just do this. I'm just doing something because I'm not messing about now. I'm not messing about. You might think you're clever, but you're breaking the law. So I've already had conversations with YouTube about you. I'm going to have more. You've been reported twice. You continue that, then I'll come and find you. Because I'm not having that. Do you understand me? You're not clever, and you're not big, and you're not smart. It's called harassment. 2019, there's a law. You've been identified. So we'll deal with you. Best personal protection people are the Royal Military. Royal Military Police Close Protection Team. They train the SES, do they? Nice one, Dean. What was I going to say? Yeah, so welcome to the Americans that are watching. Thank you very much. And to those Canadian people, I think I've got a comment from someone that I want to acknowledge in a little while from Canada. And all those people viewing the channel from outside the UK. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I just want to start with, you know, the last few days, it's done, Rich. You know, the last few days, we have seen, again, extraordinary circumstances with another TV presenter. And it was Byline Times. I made a video yesterday about it and read out what Byline Times had published on their website. And it's full of journalists. And the two journalists that put their name to the story are actually former colleagues of Dan Wootton. So I wanted to start tonight to ask you what... Andy Turner, is this live? No, it's Memorex. I wanted to ask you about decency, honesty and integrity. because there seems to be an awful lot of people that are not decent, that seemingly have managed to get themselves into a position of either influence or power, or I don't know whether they're psychopaths or narcissists, or but it doesn't appear that the only decency I'm seeing is from the man and woman on the street. The only honesty that I'm seeing is from the man and woman on the street. And the only integrity, it's not the politicians, it's not showbiz, it's, I mean, not even the reality TV people. They're going in there because they're puppets. There's no integrity anymore. None. I don't know whether you saw over the last few days, Mick H. Brilliant. Jeremy Vine said a week Sunday, this is unacceptable. Naming him as the BBC presenter has gotten somebody called Andy Plum into a bit of a pickle. And Andy has had to make a public apology, and he's had to pay a nominal sum to a charity of Jeremy's choosing, which I think is the decent thing to do. But you have to be just very careful what you're saying on social media, because the same laws of the land apply on social media, because it may be called a cyber-enabled crime, but you are still doing that in the land of your living. So UK law applies here. Whether the headquarters of the platform that you're using might be in America, it could be in Europe, it could be in Ireland, but because the laws of the land apply. Rich, oh, is the stream gone? I hope not. Alex and Stocken, is that the same for AI? Ooh, moral dilemma. So decency, honesty, integrity, what does that look like for you? Is it the politicians? Is it people in showbiz? The entertainers in showbiz? Have they got decency, integrity? I mean, Frank Boff, Jamie Theakston. Not that I'm going to link Jamie and Frank to any of the others, but David Evenden, great point. Whether you agree or disagree with Dan Wootton, at least he had the balls to come out on live TV and make a statement. Richard Bacon as well. Thank you, Alex and Stocken. So, and then you've got Rolf Harris, and then you've got Jimmy Savile, and then you've got Stuart Hall. But let me read this to you before we get deeper into the rabbit hole. I don't think, well, we'll talk Hugh Edwards. And people are saying, well, you went in hard on Hugh Edwards, but you're not really going in hard on Dan Wootton. Well, let me tell you something. There is something called the Dame Janet Smith Review Report. And it was instigated in 2012 after Savile died. And it was a review report into the shenanigans of Stuart Hall and Jimmy Savile at the BBC. Solely just at the BBC, nothing else, just the BBC. And her output was in February 2016. Now, the BBC issued a statement from Rona Fairhead on the 25th of February 2016, and I'm going to read it in total. And the reason I'm going to read this for you is because you need to get this context, because it seems the BBC have not done what they said. So I will say it here. The BBC are liars. They've not kept their word. So I'm asking you about decency, honesty, and integrity. We can start with the BBC. And I'll read this to you. And the last bit is the most important. But I'll read through it so that you get the context. And that's why I went in harder with Hugh Edwards than I did with Dan Wootton, because the BBC have to be held to account. Not the individual. He is responsible for his own actions. But the BBC put this out as a statement, and you can find this online. Rona Fairhead's statement on the publication of Dame Janet Smith's review. February 2016, so it's not that long ago. Rona Fairhead says in this statement, I am saddened and appalled by the events recounted here, and in a few moments I want to address how we will aim to ensure we never allow them to happen again. But our primary thoughts must be with the victims, the survivors of the abuse perpetrated by Jimmy Savile and Stuart Hall. And for your information, just in case you forgot, Jimmy Savile sexually abused 72 people on BBC property and raped 8 people on BBC property, 1 an 8-year-old girl on BBC property. Stuart Hall, 21 other victims. Rona Fairhead continues. Today's report lays bare the full horror of what happened to them. Those experiences can never be erased. No one reading the reports can be in any doubt that the BBC failed them. It failed. Quote, not just them, but the public, its audiences and its staff. It turned a blind eye where it should have shone a light, and it did not protect those who put their trust in it. The BBC, obviously. On behalf of the BBC and its staff, past and present, I want to apologise to the survivors for all they have suffered. I also want to commit to them directly that we will ensure that the BBC does everything it possibly can to prevent any such events in the future. Do you need me to read that again? I also want to commit to them directly, to the victims, that we will ensure the BBC does everything it possibly can to prevent any such events in the future. And I also want to record my thanks. We owe the survivors an enormous debt of gratitude for the courage they have shown in coming forward to share their experiences, their horrific experiences, with the review team. Their bravery has created a vastly deeper understanding of the issues, and I am confident that from here forward, nothing will be the same. We believe that these reports are clear, thorough and authoritative. And I would like to express my sincere thanks to Dame Janet Smith, Dame Linda Dobbs and the review team. We accept the conclusions and recommendations of their reports in their entirety. We have published both reports in full and unredacted. It is transparently in the public interest to do so. The survivors and the public have a right to understand not just what happened, but how it was allowed to happen. Who knew what and why processes failed. And to have the confidence that the BBC is taking all appropriate action. We need to restore the public's trust in the BBC. We need to demonstrate through our actions that the BBC's values are for everyone and non-negotiable. Remember, he embodies the BBC's values. For as Dame Janet Smith makes clear, these events happened in the past, but they raise serious issues that remain relevant and need to be addressed today. We fully support Dame Janet's recommendations that the BBC executive immediately reviews its policies and procedures on child protection, importantly, complaints, whistleblowing, and investigations, and that all of those should be independently audited and published. It is important that the work also takes account of the variety of working relationships people have with the BBC, from freelancers and occasional contractors through to full-time members of staff. The plans that Tony Hall has put forward, he was the DG, Director General at the time. The plans that Tony Hall has put forward today represent a thorough response to this recommendation. The Trust will work alongside the executive to ensure that the BBC takes all further steps that it needs to as quickly as it possibly can. Now, we're getting towards the end of it, and this is very important. Dame Janet also makes challenging observations about the BBC's culture. It is clear that the public expect the BBC to keep to the highest possible standards. But the BBC failed. And Dame Janet finds the status given to celebrities, the BBC's hierarchical structure and the lack of cohesion between its different departments present They present unique challenges which must be overcome if serious wrongdoing is to be exposed. Are you getting this, Hugh Edwards? The cultural change that must take place has to be both substantial and permanent. The BBC must engage fully with its staff, listen to its critics, and submit policies and culture to external scrutiny. I have discussed with the Director General at length and have no doubt that he is absolutely committed to achieving this. He also recognises that for change to be genuine and lasting, it requires the active involvement and support of those working within and around the organisation. The Trust will do whatever it can to help the management achieve this change and, if necessary, to push them to do more or go further. There are long-term and deep-seated issues to tackle, but today's reports provide a clear impetus to do so urgently and openly. To that end, the Trust will continue to pursue these questions with the Director General, taking stock of his progress at each of its monthly meetings for the remainder of the year. These events will forever be a source of deep regret and shame. Many people were failed by those who should have protected and supported them. Our commitment to the survivors and to the public is 2016, February 2016. In my view, have they taken the recommendations on board? No. Have they changed policy? Well, it's evident that they put one phone call and sent an email to the parents who were trying to do the right thing by their child. I'll say this to you again. Statement from the BBC 2016. Our commitment to the survivors and to the public, me and you, is to ensure we do everything possible to prevent this happening again. And then we have Hugh Edwards. Now I told you the other day about the Cartman drama triangle. It's a very clever tool. Transactional analysis. It's very clever. And the triangle is victim, perpetrator, rescuer. Now, from what we can see, I believe the parents of the child were the victims. They were trying to get help and support, didn't get it from the police, didn't get it from the BBC. And then when they go to the son, that's when it all kicks off. And miraculously, things happen. So I believe the victim, it's not Hugh Edwards and the BBC, it's the parents. And who are the perpetrators? Hugh Edwards and the BBC. But who's the rescuer? The Sun newspaper. But they're trying to move the sands of time. They're trying to say that Hugh Edwards is the victim, the perpetrator is the Sun, and the BBC is the rescuer, unless you're Andy Coulson, of course. So this victim, perpetrator, rescuer, you can look at your family dynamics and you can see people that play the victim all the time. And they'll say that it's them, the perpetrator. And who's the rescuer? Possibly you. But this Cartman drama triangle is a very, very clever tool, very insightful tool. And I believe that the victims were the parents, the perpetrators were Hugh Edwards and the BBC, and actually the rescuer was the Sun. Because nobody wanted to listen to them. Nobody would listen to the parents. Nobody gave them support. Nobody came to their rescue other than the Sun. And it was only when, and as much as you and I may dislike the Sun, and it has its many faults for decades and decades, including Dan Wootton, they've managed to turn the situation around for the parents. So let's get to, we'll get to some of the comments from the live from the other night, and then I'm going to get into your comments about Dan Wootton, because I think that the main three subjects, Dan Wootton, Nigel Farage, maybe the Montecito morons, but and the Byline Times, they still have not, they said on their website and on their Twitter that yesterday they were publishing part 1, and today, Wednesday, they were going to publish part 2, and they haven't. So I looked at what they were doing and I thought, well, is it going to be timing for the American market? Because if it's for the American market, then we know there's an agenda there. But seemingly Byline Times is a straight up and down journalistic endeavour. They're just trying to either right wrongs or just shine a light on the people that are trying to avoid any scrutiny. But they haven't published today. So I thought it might have been later. Oh, tic-tac. Yeah, will do. Thank you for that. So your comments. Pie back to Trixie Bell. Another entertaining video and best wishes for your wedding day. Pie back to Trixie Bell. Thank you very much. Thank you. Heather Moore. Hi, Adrian. Tony Blair, because I mentioned this in the live on Sunday. Tony Blair became a Catholic once he stopped being PM, I think. He attended Catholic church with his family, but wasn't able to take mass. What? Put a weth or a thin mint on his tongue? He took a blessing until he was confirmed as Catholic. Now, I remember Tony Blair going to see the Pope, kissing his ring. The Pope's ring. No, the one on his hand. And his missus was there, Catholic. But Tony, no, I'm not Catholic, honest. Am I not Prime Minister anymore? Oh, I'm Catholic. If it quacks like a duck, waddles like a duck, and swims like a duck, it's a duck. Adrian, if you marry into the royal family, you have to give up your Catholic faith, which Autumn Phillips did, and so did Meghan Markle. I think you'll find Meghan Markle's Jewish. Because she converted to Judaism when she married what's-his-face, the second husband, because there was the first husband that nobody talks about. Remember? And then the second one, she converted. You can't unconvert. But you'll notice nobody talks about it. It's interesting, according to Heather Moore. Thank you, Heather. I'm not a Catholic. My dad was, and they have very strict rules. History is interesting, and now we have a king who is defender of all faiths. He hasn't come out and said he's defender of all faiths since he became king, has he? Look at William. William's doing all the grunt. William and Catherine are doing everything. Well, I don't know where the king is. Is he sort of like the titular head where he just kind of waves and everything's fine? We've got a king. I don't know about you, but I still, for some inexplicable reason, I can't call her Queen Camilla. I can't call her the Queen. I'm sorry, but all my life, it was Queen Elizabeth II, Queen Elizabeth the Great. And I just find it challenging. So it is William and Catherine. Is it kind of a soft handover? So it's King and William, almost the same. The king is just making sure he's doing all the paperwork, and William and Catherine and the kids are doing all the PR and all the photos and stuff. Be interesting. Looking at the king's fingers, sausage fingers, he's had it for quite a while. He's not well. He's not a well man. And, William and Catherine, the Prince and Princess of Wales, are in fine health. Pat Byrne, God, Adrian, you don't have to go round the houses to tell a tale. Pat, you're too kind. And I'm keeping them short. Brian Reardon, Blair went totally Catholic when he left office. He was High Church of England. That's interesting, Brian, because my dad was High Church of England and he was never out the boozer. So does High Church of England give you carte blanche to be able to go and get... I know the Catholics like to fiddle with your kids, but High Church of England? Oh, I remember. Somebody complained about me once calling the Pope chief paedophile. And it went to the governing body, and the governing body went, there's not a complaint there. My managing director said, I don't know how you got away with that, Adrian. I said, because I'm telling the truth, mate. And he then, and then all the abuse allegations started coming out in North America. I said to him, told you. James B. Amazing you can remember many, many long, rambling, dragged out, boring, tedious anecdotes from a long list of positions you've held within radio, but can't remember your wedding proposal. James, I took 20 minutes to explain the wedding proposal on Sunday. But I'm so glad that you're listening. Tracy Ann Cannon. Hi, Adrian. Thanks for keeping us entertained. I went through to Edinburgh for the day and it was looking amazing in the sunshine. It's beautiful. There was a band busking called the Spinning Blowfish, and the bagpipe player is from Musselburgh. Musselburgh's a beautiful town. A lot of friends there. Beautiful town. And Edinburgh is just breathtaking. If you've never been, I did the Hogmanay celebrations. That's New Year's Eve celebrations. Oh, it was about 250,000 people there on George Street. No, but it was heaving. I mean, 250,000 people. Ardriki. Vivian Kenyon, Adrian, found your channel a few days ago. It's class, like your style, funny, informative. Subscribe because you make me smile. Viv, in the northeast. Oh, hello, Vivian. Hinny, how are you, pet? It depends which bit of the northeast you're from. Are you from kind of south, Smoggies, into the Mackhams, or into the Geordies? Where about, Vivian? But welcome to the channel. VK20MG Rob, I wonder if other countries around the world have as many problems with the TV companies and so-called stars as the UK. Well, I think you'll find they do. There was like Pee Wee Herman, can you remember him and the scandal that surrounded him? There was there's an Irish guy that's seemingly they're not happy with expenses. So it happens the world over. I'm trying to think of the big American stars who big American TV stars who got outed. There's loads of them. It's got to be loads of them. Miscreants, ne'er-do-wells, and utter wrong-uns. Dean Stewart, the person who said that the people who are sectioned are not allowed access to a phone is sadly incorrect. My partner was sectioned 3 years ago and was allowed to keep her phone. There was even a free patient phone on the ward. This caused me a lot of distress at the time, and despite my requests for the hospital to take it off her, they told me that they weren't allowed to. The 1983 Mental Health Act only covers written communication from patients, as there was no internet or mobile phones in those days. Interesting, Dean. Maybe they'll change that particular law. But thank you for giving us facts and righting our misconception. Carol Kissick, hello from France. Bonjour, Carol. Bonjour. It's not bon Louis yet, but bonjour ish. Tim Miles, the hospital question has bothered me from the word go. How do we know where he is? That's in Hugh Edwards. Because the media say so. They've not even given us a photograph, have they? They're not given us a picture. I mean, if they can get a picture of Prince Andrew with Epstein walking in the park, and they're doorstepping all these celebs and all these people, then why can't they get a picture of Hugh Edwards in hospital? Or because he has privacy? It's in the public interest. Thank you, Tim. Stephen Nash. Andy Coulson was David Cameron's Director of Communication. Oy vey. So Andy Coulson is the seemingly the hired gun, risk managing hired gun for Hugh Edwards. The reputation manager, crisis manager, however you want to term it. Thank you, Stephen. Claire Hillier. Considering I don't watch the BBC, I don't pay for a licence. I couldn't care less. Thank you, Claire. Appreciate it. Let's get to Dan Wootton. Now, as I say, I think there is Rock Hudson, yeah, film star but not telly star. Bill Cosby. Nailed it. Who's that? Dom Wigley. Thank you, Dom. Yeah, Bill Cosby. Oh dear, massive. He was kind of America's granddad, wasn't he? Well, that's what they said. No, I'm not going to be distracted. So, Dan Wootton. There was Byline Times released a reportage yesterday that kind of went viral. I mean, Dan Wootton and GB News and others were trending like Billy O on Twitter. And Byline Times said, and we're back to what do you think is decency, honesty, and integrity. Integrity is keeping your word. Now, I know, we're all weak, we're all fallible, we're all human beings, as Dan Wootton said last night, and we make mistakes, but Byline Times said they were going to publish today. I've monitored all day, and they published nothing. Talbot Tracy Mental Health Act was amended on the 7th of July. Was that this year, Talbot Tracy, 2023, or another year? So your comments on the Dan Wootton video, some of them are very, very insightful. BG Anonymous, it's one thing to be a perverted predator, but it's even worse to be like that and to lecture others about how bad wrong-uns are. Wootton, you deserve what's coming your way, mate. Piewacker Trixie Bell, what's going on? How many more names are we going to hear about? Seems to be a new one every day, Piewacker Trixie Bell. General Wolf, what happened to innocent till proven guilty? Well, from the allegations that are being made, and I do understand that Byline Times have handed over a 28-page dossier to the Met Police. There's no charges as of yet. There's no arrest under caution. There's no interview under caution. It's kind of in limbo. And I noticed that MPs are coming out and defending him, kind of. Former colleagues are coming out, but it's the fact that they are defending him. Is this just down to social media? Is this the only voice that the man and woman on the street has to actually get truth out there in social media? The problem is that there's so many pylons that truth might get lost and obscured somewhere. Decency, honesty, integrity, it's all gone. Well, not necessarily gone from me and you, but the people that we look to for maybe our moral guidance, our moral leadership, the politicians, the establishment, they're not giving us morality. They're just giving us people of the night, the dark, the utter wrong-uns. Now, we don't know which way is the truth and which way are lies. But if we'd had that continued reportage from Byline Times, we may have had a greater insight. But something has stopped them from doing it. The uninvited guest. Bizarre was also edited by Andy Coulson, as well as at one time he was entertainment editor before Wootton joined. Could that be the link between Coulson, Wootton and Edwards, as it stinks to high heaven? Celebrities in this country, sickening and disgusting, and they all need to be sorted out. It is coming to the point where we can't trust any of them to have any integrity. Is that how you feel? I mean, are you okay? Holly Willoughby. It's all about the Benjamins. It's all about the greenbacks. It's all about the money. These people are earning millions upon millions. They don't want that income stream to disappear. Even if, I don't know, would you be able to survive on £1 million? Could you buy a house outright, buy a car, have some holidays? Would £1 million do you? So why are these celebs doing multi-million pound deals? I understand the sports stars, but what would be, could you survive on £1 million now? Or does it have to be 10 million? Like if you wanted to win the lottery used to be £1 million-ish, and then a couple of million, and then 5 million, and now we've got people winning the Euro Millions, like hundreds of millions. What do you do with that? You couldn't give that much money away by the time you died. What would you do with that? Because it is a burden. As Bob Marley once said, every man thinks his burden is the heaviest. You win yourself 100 million. Can you imagine the begging letters? Mostly from me. But can you imagine the begging letters? Dale Steele said, Adrian, I always thought that Wootton was a bit creepy and weird with no personality. Cheers, Dale. You always tell it like it is, and I always appreciate your comments. The Jacobite, I'm not surprised if Dougie worked with Dan. He always seemed to speak about Wootton with a degree of jealousy. As the judge said, he was jealous of everybody. Linda Elizabeth Ann Marin, shame, because I love Dan Wootton. It's really, are the kind of the people in the public eye, are they all Marmite? Because if you look at Farage, you either like him or you don't. Tablock Tracy, 20 years ago, social platforms like Twitter weren't around. And with the development of high-speed internet and the boom of social platforms, is it any wonder they are being named on socials? Now, I've had my Twitter account since 2006. I've had my Facebook account since roughly the same time. So we're getting to the point where these social media platforms have been around for a generation, nearly 20 years. They're only 3 years away from 20. I mean, are we getting so used to it being on our phone and on our keyboards, on our computers, that we literally just will say anything we want and damn the consequences? Retro on his bikes. What is it about TV that attracts the weirdos? Money, Retro. Money. It's all about the Benjamins. Mad Max. Adrian Allen might be your real name, but that boot polished black hair colour of yours is certainly not genuine. Mad Max. You should have gone to Specsavers. I'm a ginge, man. Can you not tell? I'm a ginge. You're wrong. And that is hair product. So whether you see me as a tall, dark and handsome gentleman, I've no idea, but genuinely, why not? Mad Max says, why not try and get a sponsor from Grecian 2000? Mad Max. I've just got 2 words to say to you. No, I don't have black hair. Fanta pubes. DJ Doolittle is going down. Poetic karma in motion. Paul Flint. Hi, Adrian. Yet more drama to keep us all entertained or distracted, Paul. Or distracted. Loads of people are being distracted by... can I tell you what's going on with blue suits? George Osborne has a wedding and all the Tories are in blue suits. Now, I get that the Tories have a kind of blue thing going on, but blue suits for a wedding? And then I see, just honestly, when somebody mentions Tony Blair, I normally hoy a brick at me telly. And then when I see Tony Blair, the warmonger, on my television, how the hell it never got thrown through my front window yesterday, I'll never know in a month of Sundays. Foul, disgusting, horrific, odious man. Odious. And maybe we'll do some videos about him. I remember seeing a video of a relative of mine shaking his hand on telly at his constituency. He obviously did some work in his constituency. I wish I'd chinned my relative. So Blair and what's his face, Keir Starmer. Oh, what's his catchphrase? A simple yes or no answer. A simple yes or no answer. That's Keir Starmer, the man that was at the CPS for 5 years. 5 years. And Jimmy Savile's file went across his desk and he went, NFA. That's no further action between me and you. Keir Starmer. That's the man that wants to be Prime Minister next. Do you know what? The word that nobody is using at the moment because the political elite are scared witless. Liberals. Liberal Democrats, if you want to call them that, or the Liberals, nobody's mentioning. I'm telling you this. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a 3-way race for number 10. The Tories are going to get a kicking. Look, we've got... when's the next by-election? Maybe I shouldn't be talking about politics. Oh, yes, GP Patriot. I mentioned him on Sunday. Charles Linton Blair. Just Google it. Google it. It's there. It's not like he can deny it. It's there. Charles Linton Blair. Bow Street Magistrates Court. I'm not going to say it, but you can go and find it if you want. It'll take you about 2 seconds. Thank you, Paul. Henry. Oh, yes. So Keir Starmer and Tony Blair were doing like a question and answer thing. Blair was attempting to question Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer was just waffling. Simple yes or no, Keir. Simple yes or no. And I don't know whether it was in front of Labour Party activists or what was going on, but I felt sick to the pit of my stomach. These people, they have no conscience. None whatsoever. No empathy, compassion or conscience. No integrity, no decency, and no honesty. How can you tell when a politician's lying? Their lips move. It's an old gag. I've used it a million times. Alan, glad that the Scove and Edwards story has died down a bit, to be honest, Adrian. People are obsessed about it all, but this is disgusting. I hope they get shot of DW. GB News is my go-to news channel. It's the 4th most popular. I think it's BBC, ITV, maybe Channel 4, and then GB News, seemingly. I don't believe everything that they put out, obviously, but whenever Wootton comes on, he makes my skin crawl, and I switch off. Always knew there was something wrongin' about him. Wrongin'. The victims in all this, though, are just as bad. Seem to be stupid grown men trying to make a fast buck, like prostitutes. 30k for a few compromising pick shots. Richard shots. What could possibly go wrong? So they should have known better, shouldn't they? Yeah. And if the wife finds out, they'll die twice. Denise Shine, finally, a bit of karma coming for this vile man. He stood beside the lying abuser, AH, and made, Amber Heard, and made Depp's life hell for 6 years. He was also one of the people who drove Caroline Flack to her death. Horrible human who finally is being shown for what he is. According to Wotton's rules, when it comes to everyone else, is that if you are accused, you have to be guilty. I wonder if he sticks by that when it comes to his own door. Bernard Manning used to say, everyone's a target. This is from Vix Tex. Folks are needing to realise that it's way more difficult to hide their behaviours now. I agree. But look, what's the old Ken Livingstone line? If voting changed anything, they'd abolish it. If social media is going to bring them all under the spotlight to scrutiny, they'll abolish it. They can't have you knowing the truth. They can't have you naming names so that people are outed. But as Dan Wootton said, this is why it kind of goes one way and then the other. It's swinging backwards and forwards. Dan Wootton said that this is what they do when they want to cancel people. And maybe there is a political agenda here. We don't know. But I think a lot of people are monitoring this situation. So we had Scove and then Hugh Edwards. I think look, the only thing that I can say to you about Hugh Edwards is this. He's never going to be back on my TV. Do you want to know why? Because I've seen his arse. I can't have a newsreader sit there when I think, Jesus, I've seen his arse. Burst. Gone. No decency. No integrity. Burst. So as far as I'm concerned, he should go and find a vegetable patch and till the land for a while. Ruth Delapina, oh my God, who would have thought? Don't know what else to say here anymore. Dan Wootton, always seemed to be so prim and proper. Ruth Delapina, it's always the quiet ones that are the worst. Pink Roses, very disturbing but fair, balanced, unbiased and unhypocritical reporting, unlike GB News and Dan himself. Always been suspicious of Dan and always seen him as a bit weird and very creepy. You just knew it was all going to be out. This is far worse than what Hugh Edwards has done. Funny how they were straight men when he's gay, though. Takes all sorts. How can I put this? There is a community, and I say they help out when it gets busy. These are the married men whose wives had no clue, and I've worked with them. They have no clue, and they're off enjoying delights. Is all I'm going to say. Didn't the Romans say? Women for procreation, men for recreation. That's a Roman term. Don't know. It's been carved into a stone building somewhere. But it's this decency, honesty, and integrity that we're lacking as a society, and people are getting caught out almost on a daily. Thank you, Pink Roses. Norman Taylor. Jeremy Vine had him on his chat show, Channel 5 chat show in the mornings quite regularly. Did he? I don't watch telly. I literally don't watch telly unless it's like the King's coronation or an event, a big event. I just don't watch. Karen Renshaw, I just know one of these days I'm going to answer my phone and say, hello, you wrong'un. Karen, I dare you. You will laugh your cap off. What do you have to say about that, Adrian? Hey? Wow, Karen, yeah, wrong'un. Crazy stuff happening, though, in all seriousness. You honestly couldn't make it up. Nothing will surprise me now. Are we getting wrong'un fatigue? Because, it was the Greeks. Terry Wookfit, thank you for that. It was the Greeks, not the Romans, so it was older. Thank you, Terry. What was I going to say there? Are we getting fatigue? Are we getting wrong and fatigue? Because it's, we get Scove, and we had sort of like a month before where Philip Schofield and Willoughby, Holly Willoughby, falling out. And you could see, I mean, if she could have smacked him in the face and got away with it, she would have done. It was all there in front of our very eyes, and we're all watching it going, but what's going on? What's going on? It's only with hindsight when you look back and you go, oh, that's what was going on. And then, so we have the Scove thing, and we have all the mental health cards, and we have the, Caroline Flack. Oh, I'm there. Well, evidently you weren't, Phil. You weren't. Oh, by the way, just as a little aside, and I've been meaning to do a video about this, but I just don't have the capacity to get all the things that I want done before the wedding. Brian Reardon, bottoms up then, Adrian. Brian, you're wrong. So Penny Bunny, who's brilliant, tenacious, insightful, brilliant. I love it a bit. And a great channel. And one of her viewers, one of her subscribers, contacted her and said, "Oh, you never guess who I've seen in Devon or Cornwall or somewhere down south, somewhere down the southeast, west. I've seen Matthew McGreevy with Philip Schofield's mum, and they walked into Philip Schofield's mum's house." Interesting that, because Schofield has an £820,000 property down there. Not his mother's property, a different property. But nobody's figured that out yet. So Penny, if you're watching, do a bit more digging. You'll find that Scove's got another property down there. They weren't staying at his mother's. You see, these no morals. These people have to be very careful, because if, say, something else comes out, can you imagine what else Philip Schofield's going to do? But Matthew McGreevy, same with somebody's papers, not the mainstream media. They never reported it. I wonder why. And they're saying that the ITV inquiry is going to take ages, months and months and months. There's Holly off for 2 months holiday. Would you like 2 months holiday over the summer? Would you like virtually the whole school holidays and then a little bit extra for your holidays? Nice work if you can get it. Andrew Roberts, I really wish that we could have newsreaders like Kenneth Kendall, Leonard Parkin, Richard Baker and Moira Stewart. People that you could respect, had private lives that remained private and were worthy of the nation's respect. I agree, Andrew, but I do know some stories. Let me consult my lawyers, and I'll try and give you the story that I know about a national newsreader. National. Well, there is the Jan Leeming story, which I've already told you, but there's another one. There is another one. I've got to get it past the lawyers. I don't know how I'm going to do that, and I can't do it on the fly, on a live, but I promise you, man of my word, integrity, I'll do the newsreader story. Just keep reminding me, because, as I say, my capacity at the moment is limited. With all the things, we're 3 and a bit weeks away from the wedding, and it's getting very intense. Happy and lovely, but very intense. Mark Newbury, experienced and aware presenters will be prepared for this sort of thing. Let battle commence. I know. Look, if there's there's a Talk TV presenter that I think's been suspended, and there's another one seemingly that's involved in something. But you can't name names. You can't, because of this. It's not privacy law. It's just Article 8 of the Human Rights. It's as simple as that. You are allowed to have a private life, and you're allowed to have a family life. So I'll do my best. I will do my best to bring you that. Matt Caney. Thank you, Mark. Matt Caney. Is not Wotton an openly gay man? Well, yeah. He said last night that Brian Reardon, Adrian, I seem to remember the statue on the front of Broadcasting House was carved by a top of the range wrong'un, an utter wrong'un, Brian. And again, I'm going to do a very quick video about that, because there has been developments. Just a few more. Where are we? Blimey, am I going? Oh, I'm overrunning again. Apologies. Because normally the lives are about an hour, but you just keep encouraging me. because I'm sure you want to know more. Pauline Dixon, if this is true, how dare he sit in front of a camera and rip other people's lives apart? Just goes to show you should never believe what you see or hear on TV or in the papers. My God, are there any honest, moral people in the media? Can any of them be trusted? Yes, people should have to give their real names on social media. If they want to make a comment, they should be prepared to face any backlash those comments could bring. Thank you, Pauline. She was talking about Dan Wootton, obviously. Pooley 77. Will there be any update on your disgraceful video that you made about Nigel Farage's bank closure after what's been revealed today? Pooley, yeah. If I can find the time, it's only 24 hours in a day. And as I say, I bought this because of your comment. I bought it today, and I thought, Pooley 77's said to me, "Are you going to do a video?" Yeah. I'd like to think I'm a man of integrity and balance. So I still maintain that young Nigel is a bit upset because they offered him a NatWest account. I'm sure there are faults on both sides, but cancelling him, 10 other banks saying, no, you can't have a bank account. No, that's wholly unacceptable. And I do hope that Nigel Farage is standing for the man and woman on the street, is standing for those that have had their bank accounts cancelled. And the banks do have a right to cancel your bank account. If they think that you're laundering money, poof, gone. Because they don't want to have the thin blue line knocking on their bank door going, "Oi, you're wronging. You've been laundering money." Because it's very serious. You can go to jail. So Pooley 77, I will endeavour over the next few weeks. Sharon Tarrin, since when do we make these kind of allegations based on what the press says? Might I suggest waiting for the facts? Well, Sharon, it's a news website. It's a news. It's journalists, former colleagues of Dan Wootton, that have put the whole article together, and some of the bits and pieces that's gone to the Met. They have handed over a dossier to the Metropolitan Police. We shall wait and see if there's any developments there. Maybe the Byline Times have had to give them more, and because they've looked at it, there's possibly something going to happen further down the line. So they may not be able to publish it online. Sanford Curtis, Dan Wootton is an absolute slime ball. Thank you, Sanford. Stephen Brown, you have to wonder what the hell is going on. Wasn't Dan Wootton one of the most outspoken critics of Philip Schofield? Surely, if you had something to hide, you would keep a low profile when it came to voicing an opinion about the misdemeanours of others. Good point, Stephen. Elizabeth Skolnick. Well, are we going to have to rewrite the whole penal code, since it seems nothing gets criminally prosecuted or often seemingly even investigated by police in these cases? Just personal investigations and a bit of fun. We can just name it the 2023 Exemption and Forbearance Law of all prior existing laws, wherein is the special recognition of application of those in newscasting. The last as a special nod to their gross, in so many ways, contribution to the need for such a thing. That's an excellent, brilliant post. Thank you, Elizabeth. William, if I don't know what's true and what's not here, but what amazes me the most in all of this, and a lot of these stories going around, is people being able to offer what is more than a year's wages for a lot of us to get some straight guy to drop his drawers and show the lot for them. Telling you, I've seen Hugh's backside. What do I want to see his ugly fizzog on the news for? Holding the BBC's values. So what, everybody going to moon at the beginning of the newscasts? And Bella Dolce, all Harry and... Oh, here we go. All Harry and Meghan public haters are getting instant karma, one after the other. I'm loving it. Piers Morgan is next. Oh, don't tempt fate. Who was that? Bella Dolce. Bella Dolce. I was going to say... I just want to pass comment on Harry and Meghan. Now, William had it in the beginning. And he said, are you a little quick, Harold? And Harry was like, no, mate, I'm getting married, man. Getting married. Now, I'd heard that the first date... You know why there's a bit ambiguity about Harry and Meghan's first date? So they met on Instagram. No, they didn't. It was a blind date. No, it wasn't. He cooked her chicken. Remember? Roast chicken dinner. So we've had 3 versions of the first date, and I hear it was a threesome. So no wonder Harry's like, oh. Marry me, marry me. But I'm telling you this. You and I, if we're being realists. Norman Taylor, oh no, leave it. Oh, has it been blocked, Norman? Oh, it's been retracted. Norman Taylor said, don't you dare show your backside. I think it was the erse that they retracted. Don't you dare show your backside at the beginning of any of your lives. Norman, what an idea. Can you imagine? There'll be a knock on the door. Where's the Robin? We're taking him down the neck for a little questioning. Tailblock Tracy, I know this is why you love me. You're on £3 a minute on 080906. Tailblock Tracy, you utter wrong. This is the point that I wanted to make about Harry and Meghan. Irrespective of what's going on, irrespective of what you read every single day, in the beginning, you and I knew it was, marry in haste, repent at leisure. So you and I knew that it was going to end one way, and it was going to end in tears. So this country, we've been labelled racists. The royal family have been labelled as racists by the Montecito morons on, what's her face, Harpo, Oprah. So I'm not a racist. You're not a racist. The royal family are not racist. But they said we were, all of us, which is why they legged it. It was always part of the plan. But if we knew that it was going to end in tears, let it end in tears. Don't speculate. Don't, Meghan said this and Harry said that, and we've got all this bot farm that kind of rule the internet, where if you say anything against the gruesome twosome, you get flamed and you get piled on. But I will say this. I believe from the very first day, upstairs for thinking, downstairs for dancing, Harry. Not the other way around. So seemingly, the rumours I hear, and it's from a very, very, very impeccable source, that they're not even living in Montecito. He's all over the place. He's got rooms everywhere that he just goes to, and she's living with the kids. Do the kids actually exist? There's so many variables in this story, but I just know one thing. If she was egging on a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, then this is going to end up in tears. But would you accept him back in this country after what he did to his brother and Camilla, the Queen? Can we allow them back onto this sceptred island? He's a blood prince. Can't take that away from him. He's a blood prince. Very quickly, I just want to mention the Bibi Stockholm. The Bibi Stockholm, £6 million. These politicians, I will do. Have you noticed, like the Bibi Stockholm, there's no problem with money fixing that. There's no integrity. Actions don't meet words. There's no decency, no truth in this whole situation. As I say, mutual validation for Keir Starmer and Tony Blair in a blue suit yesterday. What's with blue suits? If anybody's got an answer. Oh, there's a thing. Sorry. Yeah, I'm presuming and assuming, and an ass assume makes an ass of you and me. Tailblock Tracy, is he a blood prince though? Now let me tell you, I do have my theories. For another live, maybe. I have pictures. Should I dedicate a single video to it? Wiggy Videos 13. Who is Harry's real dad? Well, it's up to conjecture. It's up for a discussion, definitely. Yeah, good point, Tailblock Tracy from Mr. John Up. So there was lots that I wanted to talk about tonight, but we're kind of getting to the end of this live. Please, before you go, if you could hit the thummy thing, if you could hit the likes, seemingly it helps with the algorithm. The more likes the channel or the video, the lives get, the more it's recognized by YouTube, and it's promulgated and spent far and wide. You can share all of my videos, anything that I do online, you can share it, because it's got my name above the door. The next live, as I say, possibly this Sunday. And if it's going to be this Sunday, we have some things to do during the day, and it's kind of squeezing that time that I would do to prep for the live, because this just doesn't happen, let me tell you. But definitely next Wednesday. Absolutely, categorically, it will be next Wednesday. So thank you for sticking with me this evening. I know we didn't get through as much as I wanted to. I will now go and do individual videos for all of your comments. And the Dan Wootton story is still very, very, very much getting traction. I think there's hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of comments about Hugh Edwards and Dan Wootton. So I will get to them. I want to, anybody that takes the time to come by the channel and just say hello and give me their thoughts, I will always take time. The silly ones just get deleted and reported. And those that don't understand the harassment law, just for your premise, I'll tell you what it is. If you send me anything twice, that constitutes harassment. And the Harassment Law 2019 means that it will deal with you. So up until now, everybody's been lovely, and you kind of get what I'm doing. There's a lot of subtleties in what I do, and sometimes I'll give you a bit of information, but it's wrapped in something else. And it's for you to join the dots and unwrap that information. I'm not going to make it easy for you, but I do know a lot, and I will drop that in. So you've got to be watching all the lives, and you've got to be watching all the videos. And if you go back to some of the early videos with the understanding that you've now got, as the old saying goes, you can only come from your level of understanding. All the stuff that I've told you, and you're getting the context and joining the dots, it'll take your breath away. There are Dougie the Convicted Stalker developments, which I'm not going to bring to this particular live, but we'll do videos. And to Philip, if you're watching this, we'll speak soon. Thank you to everyone that's been here. There's hundreds of people that have been watching. Thank you very much for that. Don't forget to just hit the thumb in recognition of all the hard sterling work I do. And the next live Sunday, possibly, I will let you know. I'll stick a video out saying it's definitely this Sunday night. Otherwise, it's going to be next Wednesday, the 26th of July. My name's Adrian Allen. Thank you for your likes. Really appreciate them. Thank you for your subscriptions. Don't forget to ding the bell, because it'll tell you when the next video is coming. But most of all, thank you for your indulgence. You utter wrong'un. And I'll see you in the next video.